Have you ever done something that you regretted deeply? Have you ever made a decision you wish you could turn back time and fix? Have you ever done something that you just truly wish you could change? Well, boy, do I have a product for you. Just imagine if that infomercial came on the TV. I imagine Billy Mays coming on and doing those advertisements that he used to do, and that product is obviously complete and total nonsense. But if it existed, it would sell out extremely, extremely fast. You think back on decisions you've made in the past. You think back on actions, words you said, different choices that you've made, whatever it is. And a lot of times it fills you with regrets, or at least if you're like me and you reminisce on whenever you were younger, they do. There's a lot of things that we wish we could do differently. There's a lot of things that we wish we could go back in time and just, if I could go back, I would change this one thing. I would just be quiet instead of saying this. I would go back and I would change whatever it is. There's nothing that can do that. Unfortunately, nothing like that exists. But I'm going off of this presupposition that a lot of you had people that guided you through your life, that helps you get to the point where you're sitting here in this auditorium this morning. A lot of you adults, I'm speaking to you right now. People that guided you, people who gave you corrections along the way, people who encouraged you, and people who helped you to make the right decisions. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning, is we're talking about preparing a generation to lead. Preparing a generation to lead. If you're familiar with the Old Testament at all, there's a passage, this passage that Christian just read for us just a moment ago. But it starts off with the word hear, which in the Hebrew it says Shema, if I'm saying that correctly. And according to many YouTube videos I watched practicing saying that, I am saying it correctly. That is, if they are saying it right. But anyways, Shema means a lot of different things. Deuteronomy 6, 4 and 5 are called the Shema. It's this prayer that Jewish people have been saying for thousands of years. They've been saying it to reaffirm what they believe, to show their dedication to that claim that they are making. And it's a claim it's a statement that God is trying to direct the Israelite people through his servant Moses. He's directing them as they're about to enter into the promised land, and Moses knows that he is not going to be with them. He knows that this older generation, they had to wander in the wilderness for a while because they didn't believe the spies that went into the land and said that it was good for them to take. Moses knew that he wasn't going to be able to go with them. God needed to give one last commandment through Moses to the people to encourage them as they were about to enter into this promised land. The Shema is a very powerful passage, the Shema. Let's look at what the word Shema in Hebrew means. It means several different things. It means to hear or to listen to. That's the most common translation, and that's what you see here in Deuteronomy chapter 6. You see that is translated, "Hear, O Israel." And I need to get my Bible marked because we're going to be coming back to this passage a few times. So it says, "Hear, O Israel, Shema, O Israel." Hear or listen to. Well, the most common translation. There's several different translations to it, though. Another one is to pay attention to or to focus on. You see it gets a little bit more in depth, not just hear or listen, but to actually pay attention to the things that are being said. Another translation is to respond or to act upon what you hear. This is going to be a really important one as we move forward in this lesson, to respond or to act upon what you hear. Another one means to listen to or obey, and that's the most simple, most concise definition of the word Shema, to listen to and obey. Because you see the Hebrew people, the people that spoke this language, they would have understood whenever they heard the word Shema, they would have known it means both of those things, so it took action. Here's a bonus for you. If you go over to Exodus chapter 19, verse 5, you see, if you look at the original language, this is off of different studies that I've done on this word, this topic. Exodus 19, verse 5, it says, "Now therefore, if you will indeed obey," that is Shema, Shema, to listen to fully is what it's saying. And if you're going to listen to something fully, and if you're going to actually Shema something, it means to obey, to act upon what you're going to do. It says, "If you indeed obey my voice and keep my commandments, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for the earth is mine." So this was Israel at Mount Sinai. God was speaking to them, and he says to Shema, to listen to and obey. Just for further emphasis, he used the word twice there. Shema. So the Israelites, like I said, they would have understood that this word, and I'm being a Bible nerd right now, really focusing in on this word Shema, but it's really important. If you're going to actually hear, then you're going to actually act on what you were about to hear. So he says, "Shema, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." The prophets, before we move on a little bit further, the prophets, as you go through the different prophecies and whatnot, in Jeremiah 5, verse 21, you see that the people have ears, but they are not listening. That sounds very familiar if you've ever gone through the different letters to the 7 churches of Asia over in Revelation. Every single one of those letters ends up with, "He who has ears, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches." If you have ears, you're going to listen. You need to listen. And Jeremiah was lamenting at the fact that the people had ears, but they weren't, in fact, listening. They weren't listening, and he knew they weren't listening because they weren't acting like they were listening. God is calling for us to listen and to act. He's calling for us to truly Shema what he is about to tell them through Moses. So we're going to go through Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9 real quick, just verse by verse, going through, breaking it down, and really looking at what it means if we're going to do all these things, if we're going to prepare a generation to lead like the fancy sermon title says we should do. So verse 4, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." This is making a very, very bold claim. Other translations say, "The Lord is the one and only God." The Lord your God, the God that you worship, is the one, the only, the one and true living God, the only God that actually exists. So he's saying, if you are making this claim, if you listen to this claim that God is telling them through Moses, then you are going to have to act upon that. If you truly listen to that claim, then you can't stay where you're at. You've got to do something in response to that claim. You've got to do something to that with that claim. And picking up in verse 5, it says, "You shall love the Lord your God." This is how you respond to a claim like that, because God made, these people would have been familiar with all the stories leading up to this point through Genesis. You see many stories of the fall of man, the redemption, and God trying to bring man back to himself. He says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your might." That's our action. And if you're going to do that, then you're going to continue on here in this passage. It says, "And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit down in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise." Verse 8, "You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them down on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." Now, taking a step back from this passage a little bit, if you take a step back and you really look at what's going on here, you can see what God is doing for his servant, what he is saying to the people of Israel through his servant Moses. He's saying, you need to lead. If you look at verse 6, you can see this play, or not 6, verse 7 rather. if you look at the very beginning of verse 7, he's commanding people to teach them to their children. So what he's doing here is he is commanding the people through Moses, once again, to prepare a generation to lead that will prepare a generation to lead, and so on and so forth, leading all these people back to himself. We see that that's what God was trying to do. The people had strayed at this point. The people had let him down. The people had disappointed him once again. But God did not give up on us. God did not give up on the people of Israel. He wanted them to come back to himself. And he says it all starts with a child. It all starts with your children. So why are children so important? Why are they the only demographic mentioned here? Have you ever thought about that? They're the only demographic that's explicitly mentioned here. The only group of people that are specifically mentioned are the children. Why is it only the children that were mentioned? It's pretty interesting, I think. I think it's really neat to see this play out throughout the Bible. You see it over in the New Testament. We'll talk about that in just a second. If you want to go ahead, you can turn over to Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10 will be there in just a second. But if you want to, if you step back and you think about it, you think about who do you have the most influence over? As a parent, who do you have the most influence over? As a teacher, we have several of you in this auditorium this morning. As an educator, who would you have more influence over? We have some from both aspects. We have some from elementary, middle school, and high school, and we have, I know at least two that are in college teaching. Which one has more influence over the people that they are teaching? And I would challenge you to say that those who are teaching the younger children have far more influence over their lives than the ones who teach older people and teach adults. Sorry, Will. Yeah, so you see this, and it plays out in Mark chapter 10 a little bit here. It's a passage that is that's kind of speculated upon by a lot of different people. A lot of different people have different ideas as to why this is mentioned in different gospel accounts. But let's pick up in verse 13. It says, and they were bringing, so Jesus had just describing what marriage should be about, and how divorce, and I don't want to spend too much time on that. We need to focus on preparing this generation to lead. But anyways, I'm just trying to give a little bit of context. You can go back and read on that if you want to know exactly what is being taught here. But verse 13, and they were bringing children to him that he might touch them, and the disciples rebuked them. So people were bringing their children to Jesus because they wanted them to come in contact with the one who was going to be the person, the way that people could come back to God. People were bringing their children to Jesus, and the disciples, the apostles, the ones closest to Jesus, were trying to push them away. And a lot of people think this is because children at this time were kind of second class. They were supposed to be the ones that were doing all the chores around the house. They were the ones that were supposed to be tending to the flocks, tending to the fields, whatever it was. Children weren't supposed to be in the public eye of going and learning from different teachers. But Jesus said to his disciples that were getting on to these people that were bringing their children to him, he says, when he saw it, he was indignant and said to them, let the children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of God. Truly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child shall not enter it. And they took them in his arms and blessed them, laying his hands on them. Jesus understood the importance of influencing children. So this quarter, with my 7th through 12th graders on Wednesday night, it's been a very, I've enjoyed this study. I hope they have as well, but I've been teaching about the topic of leadership, different aspects of leadership, different ideas that a leader should have, different things that a leader should do. And I wanted to grow in this area as well, and that's part of the reason why I taught on it. I chose to teach on this topic, but we're talking about leadership, and I decided I wanted to grow and I wanted to be become a better leader, become the best leader that I could possibly be for our young people. So I've been reading a few books, and I don't know if you've ever had this moment. If you've ever read a book that is designed for your area of work, whatever it is that you do, whether you're a counselor, whether you're a teacher, whatever it is, whatever your profession may be, if you've ever read a book specifically tailored to you as whatever your job is, and you've had this book, and it's really, as you're reading it, you're thinking, man, I've got to change what I'm doing. I've got to change some different practices that I've been putting in place. This book that I've been reading, that I read this week, actually, it really did that for me. It's called A New Kind of Leader. It's by a guy named Reggie Joyner, A New Kind of Leader, and the kind of subtitle of that book is called What You Believe Can Impact a Child. So this book is all about being a youth minister, and he makes a lot of very bold claims about children in this book. But in the first chapter specifically, he's talking about the importance of a child. He talks about how kids matter. Kids really do matter, and they should matter to a congregation. If your congregation is one that is wanting to continue to exist in the future, then kids need to matter to you as a congregation. And he has a lot of ideas, a lot of different things that he says, a lot of different ideas building up, and the suggested actions from this chapter are all centered around the idea of investing in our children, investing in kids, because he says that if you're talking in terms of finances, a child is a better investment than an adult. And I know that's a very, very bold claim, but he says you have far more return year after year after year just because of the life expectancy and the impression that a child can have will last through their adult years and beyond. He says if you want to affect a generation the way a generation sees the world, then it makes sense to start influencing their character and their faith when they're young. He also says a lot of people might agree that kids matter, but sometimes we, talking about Christians, fail to act like he says. It's funny, though, that a lot of non-Christian organizations really see the importance of a child, but a lot of churches do not. If you don't believe him whenever he makes that claim, if you're a parent or if you're a guardian of a child, try keeping them out of school for, let's say, a month, and see how that goes over. There will be police officers knocking on your door, asking you what's going on. The government understands. The government knows how important it is to teach our children. They know that if we don't teach them while they're young, it's kind of the concept of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He talks about this idea, and several other people talk about it as well. There's one, I found a really good article as I was getting ready for this lesson this morning. It's called What Congregations Owe Their Teenagers. It's by a man, some of you may have heard of him. He's real big with the Last Leaders Circuit. I've heard of his name mentioned both years that I've gone over to Atlanta with this congregation. They've talked about a guy named Hiram Kemp, if I'm saying that correctly. He wrote this article. It's on Plain Simple Faith if you want to go look it up. But I'm going to bring out a lot of the highlights of it. He talks about what a congregation owes its teenagers, what a congregation should be doing to make sure that they are preparing a generation to lead in the way that God was doing through Moses back in Deuteronomy chapter 6. He says if you want to, if you're going to be a congregation that's investing in teenagers, he says you need to have good and challenging Bible classes and sermons. He says a lot of times the temptation is to just print off a piece of paper if you're a teacher of a child's class. Print off a piece of paper, walk into class, and just read from it. But he talks about how it's a shame that a lot of our school systems are challenging our kids with science and mathematics and all these different languages that they're teaching our children at such young ages. But then they come to our congregations, and we end up spoon-feeding them Noah's Ark, and we end up talking about the elementary principles, if you will. Let's go over to Hebrews chapter 5. This is a passage that he brought out whenever introducing this idea. It's a very challenging article. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. And yeah, we're going to go through the end of this chapter. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12 through 14. It says, "For by this time you ought to be teachers. You need someone to teach you again the basic principles of the oracles of God. You need milk, not solid food. For everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness since he is a child. But solid food is for the mature. For those who have their powers of discernment trained by constant practice to distinguish good from evil." We want our children to get to a point of spiritual maturity, and that can only come through teaching them how to become spiritually mature and teaching them challenging lessons. Number two, the things that he says all congregations owe their teenagers: a chance to serve. And he talks about a chance to serve in a meaningful way. A chance to serve in a meaningful way. A lot of times, the congregations, if you've ever visited many congregations, you see across the board there's a gap of people that are about my age and about Kayla Coker. Sorry, happy anniversary, by the way. Kayla Coker's age, and you see people that you see a lot of this age group that are totally missing from a congregation, and a lot of times is because we treat kids like they aren't a part of our congregations. Let's go over to 1 Corinthians chapter 12 real quick. We're getting close to winding down here. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, starting in verse 12, it says, "For as the body has many members, and all the members of the body, though many are one body, so it is with Christ. For in one Spirit we were all baptized into the body, Jews, Greeks, slaves, or free. We were all made to drink of one Spirit. For the body does not consist of one member, but of many." And he challenges us to think, what if we started treating our children like they were future members of the body of Christ? What if we started training them to serve in the body of Christ the way that we expect adults to serve in the body? What if we started treating them like they are a part of the body of Christ? Verse 18 rather. "But as it is, God arranged members of the body, each one of them as he chose. If we were all a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, yet one body." We need to help our children find a place to serve in the body of Christ so that whenever they become an adult, whenever they become ready to lead, they can step in and be the leader that they need to be. And a lot of times we step back and we say, well, maybe they won't do as good of a job as what an adult would do. And I would totally agree with you. They won't do as good of a job as what an adult would do, but neither did that adult whenever they did whatever it was for the first time. And another thing that he says that congregations owe their teenagers is a listening ear. Proverbs 18, real quick. Proverbs 18, verse 13. "If one gives an answer before he hears, it is folly and it is shame." There's a youth ministers retreat that I go to. Us youth ministers, we love putting on retreats and we love going to them. There's a youth ministers retreat I go to up in Columbia, Tennessee. It's probably the most beneficial thing for me as a minister that I go to throughout the entire year. And one of the most beneficial parts of this retreat is our, we call them late night talks. We just sit around on some couches in this teen room at this congregation, and we discuss, as youth ministers, people that are all going through similar experiences. We talk about things that we've been struggling with throughout the year, things that we need help navigating, and people sit and they listen. And it's really a relief going and knowing that people care to listen to you, knowing that people truly want to see what is best for you, it's really neat to see that. And our kids need that same type of experience. They need people that want to listen, that want to help, and that have been through similar situations. And to our adults, I challenge you to be that person, and to our teens, I challenge you to find that person. And the last thing he says is a solid foundation. We need to do the best job we can to provide our children with a base in which to stand of knowledge for why we believe what we believe. The world is going to throw many different objections out there to their faith, and we need to prepare our children with the answers they need for these different objections. 1 Peter 3, verse 15, it says, "But in your hearts honor Christ, the Lord is holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. So we need to be giving our children this foundation, this place where they can give an answer for the things, for the hope that is within them. They can give a defense for all the things that they believe in. We need to be training our children to live the Christian life. I thought it was really neat that Jim, I didn't ask him to read that passage. That was almost the passage I went off of for this sermon over in Joshua chapter 24. The passage that's familiar to all of us, is, especially those of you who have children of your own. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. It's a passage that it's a decision that each one of us as adults, each one of us as people that are seeking to follow God, we all need to choose to serve the one and true God. So you may be thinking, well, that's great and wonderful. I really want to get involved, but I don't really know how. Well, as we're closing out this morning, I want to give you a few ways that you can help. Each one of you, every single person in this auditorium, can help prepare a generation to lead. Number one, Will, Nathan, this one's for you. Teach a Bible class. Teach a Bible class. Our kids need people that are going to teach a Bible class with passion. They need to know that you actually believe the things you're going to be teaching. They need people that are going to teach in truth, and they're going to need people that teach in love. Kids scare me. Kids intimidate me is a big response I get whenever I ask somebody. I try to put somebody on the spot to teach a class, and yeah, kids intimidate me too, because they can tell whenever I'm being real or not, because they experience every day a whole school full of people who are being fake with them. Kids are excellent at telling whenever somebody's being real. Number two, participate in anything related to the Ashville Road Ministries for Youth. We have a lot of different things. We have our Thanksgiving meal coming up next week, next Sunday. I want to encourage you to come be a part of that. Come fellowship with the young people of this congregation. Show them that you care. Show them that you want them to grow to be the leaders of this church that they need to be. Number three, talk to the youth of this congregation and encourage them to keep seeking to serve God. They're in the midst, as Paul said, a crooked generation. Every generation seems to be that way, not just this one, but they're in the midst of a lot of different ideas being thrown at them every single day, and they need to have our encouragement. Whatever number is next, pray for our youth. Pray for the kids of this congregation. Find one person, if you haven't already, and pray diligently for them. Find one kid in this congregation. The most important one, though, if you don't take away any of those other actions, I hope you take away every single one of them, but if you don't take away any other thing, as adults of this congregation, if we want to prepare a generation to lead, then we need to actively show them what it means to love the Lord their God with all their heart, with all their soul, and with all their might. We need to display what it means to be a Christian to our children. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. We're going to end up there one more time. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your might. And these words I command you shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children. You shall talk of them when you sit down in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on your doorposts and on your house, on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. And I want to ask each one of you, what are you doing today that is worth following? As adults, what are you doing? What are you displaying that is worth following for these young people? What are you doing today that is worth following for the peers around you, the people that you work with? What are you doing to help lead others to Christ? We have been given so much as God's people. We have been given so many blessings that we can't describe them. We can't fully describe how thankful we are to God for them. But we can have this faith that shows action. That we can listen. We can shema, going back to our word of the day. We can listen and act upon the things that we hear here in this congregation. And I want to challenge you, if you aren't already, play a part in leading a generation of young people to Christ. They're the most able to be formed. They're the most able to be changed. They're the most able to go into a school full of people and to teach them about what it means to serve God. If you're not following God this morning, we have a lot of leaders here at this congregation that I look up to. We have a lot of people. We have 3 elders that I respect. I respect deeply. We have a lot of deacons here that love serving God, and we have a lot of faithful men and women that would love to talk with you about what it means to follow God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your might. If you need anything this morning, please don't leave until you have come and you've talked with us. And if you have a need right now, please come as we stand and as we sing.